vintage radio-related item with little-known facts or lore. The category for this topic is 1920s American-made broadcast receiver, the Electradyne. A Chicagoland product worthy of being called unique, the Electradyne Peerless 2-tube Super Reflex Receiver, circa 1925. Found in the estate holdings of the late Loren Peckham, one of the founding fathers of the Antique Wireless Association. From the factory, it is a 2-tube reflex receiver with tube filaments that can be lighted by 110 volts 60 Hz AC. It has a built-in horn-type loudspeaker. This particular set has a built-in B eliminator using an O1A triode as a half-wave rectifier. To date, no other equivalent radio is known to have been marketed in the USA during the 1920s. The Electradyne appears in this October 1925 issue of Radio Retailing magazine. The headline reads, "Lamp Socket Radio, to have important place." With the exception of the RCA Radiola 30 and the RCA Model 104 powered loudspeaker, you have probably never seen in person any of the other AC-powered sets pictured here. I just found this advertisement for the Electradyne in the November 15, 1924 issue of the Talking Machine World. This is exciting in that it places the Electradyne as being one of the very first North American broadcast receivers to be AC mains powered. Initially, it seems that the radio had an internal transformer that lighted only the tube filaments on AC, and the 90-volt B voltage came from an external Fordec brand B eliminator. Apparently, the tube filament power came from the same type of transformer used in this Eagle brand charger. More about that shortly. Everybody knows, or at least thinks they know, that the Dynergy RC250 is the first batteryless radio to make it to market. It is listed in the November 1924 Radio Trade Directory. Note that it is identified as being for 110-volt DC. This undated advertisement says it is for both AC or DC. This advertisement may be from a 1925 publication. The late Alan Douglas says that the Dynergy A for AC, is from 1925. Is the box below an AB eliminator to convert AC mains to DC for the radio? Could it even contain an AC input dynamo? So maybe this was not the first presumed AC mains set. So here you see parts of the instruction sheet pasted to the back panel of the radio, and it proclaims that the Electradyne operates from storage battery or alternating current only. What it does not say is that the alternating current can only be used for lighting the tube filaments. The connection terminal strip shows that it also requires a 4.5 volt C battery and an external 90 volt B battery. So here it is in its clean glory. It's possibly the only surviving example. The original grill cloth is rotted and torn. Fortunately, a few fingernail-sized fragments were encased in hide glue around the edges of the horn, positively revealing that the original cloth is chartreuse-colored rayon fabric. Rayon cloth is no longer available, but silk cloth for bridal gowns is an exact match in color and weave. So here is the set with the plywood back panel removed. The original power plug is an Edison screw-type plug, not a two-blade plug. Adjusting the transformer that lights the tube filaments is a set-and-forget procedure. The printed instructions on the back cover do not mention the B-battery eliminator circuit installed in this radio. Was this B-battery eliminator in place when the radio was sold? This shows the radio power transformer used to light the tube filaments. This certainly looks similar to the Eagle charger just shown. The transformer core has 3 legs. One outer leg for the 110 volt 60 Hz primary, and the other outer leg is for a center tapped secondary winding with a maximum output of about 6 volts under load. That output voltage is adjusted by rotating a magnetic shunt in the center leg. This type of power regulation scheme was used in some early multi-kilowatt welding transformers, but I know of no other radio use of this technique. In this radio, there are 2 coils of resistance wire connected across the output terminals, apparently to limit the maximum voltage seen by the tube filaments. Just recently, I found another of these radio power transformers at a Hamfest junk box for just $2. The B eliminator parts installed in this Electradyne are all found in the Timmins B eliminator, patented in 1923, claimed to be the first commercial B eliminator on the market. First versions of this unit used a UV201A as a half-wave rectifier. I have found no advertisements indicating that Timmins sold individual parts, so maybe their parts were not available at retail. This might suggest that the B supply as built into this radio did indeed come from the factory. Here is the schematic of the set minus the B eliminator circuit. A series-tuned aerial circuit and a parallel-tuned grid circuit, RF transformer coupled to a fixed carborundum detector driving an audio transformer. The audio loops back through V1 to be transformer coupled to the audio output tube V2. Reflex detector is a carborundum fixed type. They are only considered sensitive if they have a DC bias current provided, which this circuit does not provide. The radio does work with all the original components. It plays loud on a 4 kilowatt station less than 2 miles away from my house, but can barely detect a 50 kilowatt station 25 miles away. Here is the very nicely laid out chassis with its quality components. I note that the carborundum detector was always advertised as needing to have a slight bias of 200 to 800 millivolts. This radio contains no such means for biasing. This was definitely a local receiver, not selective at all. The broadcast band was rapidly filling with stations in 1924. It must have experienced severe QRM from day one. But if you wanted to fill your radio collecting stable with a unique set, this is a great addition. Another nice perspective view. The only other information I have found is the registration of the trademark, filed September 1924. The announcement seen on slide 3 in Talking Machine World was filed by a New York City distributor organization. Any other information would be greatly appreciated. Inquiring minds want to know who was really the first to make a light socket powered radio for the American public.